Hey everybody, welcome to Deals Chasing. I'm with my friend Tim Davis today. Tim, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic, Max. How are you doing?
Man, really good, really good. It's awesome. The weather's nice and we're just ready to make it happen. And I know that that's exactly what you're doing in Florida. So where are you at in Florida and what kind of real estate, investing and businesses do you have right now?
So we're in Central Florida and right around Disney World, not too far from Disney World. And right now we are managing about 500 properties.
Mhm.
We also have brokerage services, so we're selling some properties. We're helping investors find other properties.
Mhm.
We're actually doing some fix and flip business, wholesaling, a little bit of private lending. So we got a lot of different things going on. I actually just bought a new business the other day that it's kind of an interesting little niche, and we'll see how that works out. It's a cool little business.
Yeah, well, man, mystery and surprise. Well, can you tell us what it is or is it too early?
No, it's we actually have been operating 2 weeks now, but
Mhm.
so there's a lot of new construction going on,
Oh yeah.
and we ran into this guy that had this little backhoe business where he digs the holes and puts in the connection pipe for the electrical conduit between the house and the underground utilities.
Mhm.
And he just wanted to sell the business. He had a bunch of contacts, he had the equipment, had the truck, and he priced it just right. And so I went and bought the business and we put it into operation. I had a couple of guys that I knew could do the work, and
Yep.
we set them up doing the labor, and I just ran my first payroll today. So
Sweet.
um, yeah, nice little business. It should be pretty profitable. I'm excited about it. It's not a big business, but it'll help build up a little extra cash flow to put into my, to put into my retirement somewhere. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very cool. Well, let me ask you this, you've been in real estate for a while and you've seen some ups and downs, like, with the real estate cycle, and we may be approaching another down. There's a lot of short inventory, but at the same time, there's a lot of folks who haven't paid their rent and it's kind of coming due. And what has this challenge been like with from being in the property manager seat? What has it been like working with tenants, and what kind of opportunities do you see in the future, for real estate investors?
as far as our collection rates, they've
Mhm.
been pretty good. We've
Mhm.
been able to collect probably right around 95%, which is about the same as before COVID.
Right.
We have worked with a few people because some people were a little bit behind. So
Right.
we have worked with them. Haven't had that much issue, but what I have seen is landlords getting tired of dealing with that.
Mhm.
Dealing with the phone call, hey, your tenant's not paying this month, that we're trying to work out their payment plan, and so landlords have not the ones that have a lot of units, but some landlords have been selling lately, and so that's been very interesting, and we've been able to help them sell. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to buy many of them because they're just priced really high right now. Everybody thinks that everything's worth a little bit more than what it actually is.
Right.
But we were able to buy. We did a little wholesale deal where we got four duplexes from one tired landlord,
Mhm.
and we actually sold them to somebody else, and we made a pretty good profit on that deal. That was in January of
Mm.
this year. So, um, so there's been some opportunity out there.
Absolutely. I remember when we first met, which has been, like, I mean, going on almost 5 years ago. It's been a while. I remember the first time that you got up and spoke, you were talking about how you've utilized property management not just as a business and a revenue center, but as a way to generate a lot of off-market deals.
Yeah.
And it's created short-term deal opportunities where you could take them and do something with them, fix them up, flip them. And then it's created some buy and hold, equity appreciation opportunities, and some of those without the need of having to go to, traditional bank financing. So can you speak a little bit to that? Because a lot of people, when they think property management, they're like, oh, low margins, it's really hard, no thanks. But the ancillary benefits of it are, and how much you've been able to build with doing it is like amazing. I'm not saying that necessarily people should just go out and start a property management business just to get deals, but you have done that. So can you talk a little bit about some of the success you've had with that and why it's worked so well?
Yeah. So one of the things that I realized early on when we started the property management company is that some landlords, especially older landlords, they get tired of being landlords.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that they don't get tired of is collecting monthly payments.
Uh-huh.
And everybody seems to like the monthly payment coming in
Right.
when you're a landlord. And so I've been able to capitalize on that. And when I have a tired landlord, I've been able to offer them a payment stream. And
Mm-hmm.
so we get seller financing many, many times from them because they're used to getting payments.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that we're going to continue to rent the house, and we're going to continue to get rent, and we're going to have the cash flow so that we can make those payments.
Right.
So that has been a huge benefit for me to find properties to put into my own portfolio, which I've done over the years many times with owners that I've worked with that just decided they didn't need to own property anymore. And so they like turning their property into paper. And so basically they turn it into a mortgage and a note, and then we make the payments, and they don't have to worry about the tenants in the toilets.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Absolutely. So that's been huge. So let me ask you this. If somebody right now who's listening to this, they're, a traditional real estate investor, they're doing fix and flips, they're doing, they've got maybe a few of their own rentals. What are the steps to start a property management like business? And is it something you start from scratch, or you go into a franchise? How, what does your team need to look like? Like, how is there a demand for it right now? Like, what are your thoughts about somebody who's just like, they're looking for maybe another stream? Is property management something to look into? And if so, what should they, watch out for?
Yeah. So when I started the business, Max, I was just coming out of the crash back in 2008, 2009.
Right.
And I actually had gone through a bankruptcy, and I had basically lost everything. So I was starting from scratch.
Right.
And I was at the age at that point in time, I was like 45 years old. I was like, I am not going to start from scratch. So I actually bought a franchise, and it was a very good experience for me because the franchise gave me some systems
Yep.
that I could just work. I could work the systems. I didn't have to create everything. Now, they didn't give me any properties to manage.
Right.
I had to go out and find those on my own. They didn't give me any people to work with me, so I had to find that on my own and put my own, process together for that.
Right.
But what they did give me was a real good basis for the software and how to understand um, the processes of the property management system. So in my case, that was the best thing for me to do. And I did that. I bought the franchise, and then we grew the franchise from that. I bought a second location in 2016. So, that was good for me. But if I was starting from scratch and I was, 25, 30 years old,
Yeah.
I think that I would really just study the system, join NARPM, which is the National Association of Residential Property Managers, um, get all the education you can, and just start small. Just one at a time. Just start building it, build your system, because that would work actually to your advantage, because then you wouldn't have franchise fees. But
Right.
for me, what happened at that point in time, it was easier to start out. I didn't want to start from scratch again. I had already built one business from scratch, all the systems and everything I put together myself.
Yep.
and then I lost that business in the bankruptcy.
Right.
Uh, so anyways, but that's what I would suggest. If it depends on where you are in your life. If you want to start from scratch, you can do it. If you want to buy something that already got some systems and some help on the back end, I would buy the franchise.
That makes sense. And so what is the opportunity like out there? Is there a shortage of good property managers? And if so, what have y'all been able to do that, keeps your people coming back and keeps the word of mouth and, because you've grown it a lot. So what do you think about those?
So the interesting thing is the biggest competition is self-management.
Mm-hmm.
That is the biggest competition. I would say that probably 3 to 6% of all properties that are managed by professionals. The rest of them are managed by mom and pop. So there is a lot of opportunity out there if you can get mom and pop to give up the reins. I've got some people I've been working on for a while. They got 40 and 50 units,
Mm-hmm.
and they just been doing it themselves for 25 years, and they just don't want to give it up. They're in their 80s, and they just don't want to give it up. So that's the hardest thing to do, is to find those people and convince them that you can help them and probably create more cash flow for them, less headaches, and they can live their life and be, let it go easier. But I would say there's always going to be a need for good property management. And one of the things that we've done recently is we've really looked at what we do more as a wealth management company. So we help investors manage their wealth using real estate. And so that's one of the little angles that we take, is more so than just being a property manager. You
Right.
know, we're not just going to manage the building for you and the tenants. We're going to help you look at your portfolio and say, hey man, these two over here are losers. You probably need to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can find you some other things that'll make you more money. And so
Absolutely.
we've taken that approach, and that's something that I don't see a lot of people doing. So if you took that angle
Mm-hmm.
to help out investors, I think that you'd be very successful.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, finding enough, sellers and lenders to work with can obviously be challenging. What trends have you noticed in your local market as far as, people wanting to sell their home, and then, folks who are maybe interested in getting involved in the private lending space? What have you noticed the last, few years?
Um, so in the last little while, it's been very difficult to find properties to buy, um, simply because of the demand right now.
Hmm.
I've seen where people are selling on the MLS properties for higher prices than I would ever be able to pay for them, and in um, conditions that you would need to put quite a bit of money into to fix them up. So that's been a trend here in the last year at least.
Hmm.
I think that's going to continue for a while. I have found some distressed situations.
Hmm.
Um, I've found a few foreclosures that are going on that we can help people with.
Good.
Um, I found always whenever there's a sickness or something in the family, and somebody needs a quick sale, and they've got a property that they can't market because of the condition. That's been somewhere where we could help people. But I think you've probably seen this trend all over the United States now, that it's just very slim pickings when it comes to um, buying properties. So really, what you need to do is you need to continue your marketing, but one of the things that we are giving people an option with right now, and I know that you have your license, your real estate license, but because we are a brokerage company, we are able to help people in that aspect also.
Mhm.
So if they think that they can get more money for it and that's what they want to try, we give them that option that we can help them sell it on the retail market.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for where we are in the market cycle, that's just having a license, and monetizing, helping those people. That's just kind of a no brainer. What about
Yeah.
private lending? Have you seen people interested in getting in, putting their money to work, investing
I
in?
have seen a lot of people with a lot of money that want to, in fact, I've got a lot of money right now that I want to put to work too. And it's hard. That's why I bought that business. I
Mhm.
took some money that was sitting around and I said, hey, this is a good investment. Let's do that.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of money out there and people are willing to lend it. A lot of my private lenders are calling me up saying, hey, we just had money come back. What have you got going?
Mhm.
And so we're having those conversations. Um, and that may be a reflection of how much money's been poured into our economy from the government.
Yep.
You know, the more money that comes in, the more money that's available. And so, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there to get money
Mhm.
if you got a good deal.
Let's say that we're approaching a time period where, there's signs to where there could be a lot more inventory available in the future. And, there could be, some economic uncertainty, and you've been through that period. And so can you speak a little to the importance of having private money like ready to go when there's a market downturn, and how much like more challenging it can be to fund deals during a downturn? I think you know
Mhm.
that better than anybody.
I can talk about that for sure. Yeah. So when we had the downturn in 2008,
Mhm.
I had no idea about private money. I didn't know anybody with private money. I didn't do anything with private money. All of the money that I had borrowed at the time was from conventional lenders.
Mhm.
And I had seen at the time, I saw a slowdown coming.
Mhm.
Actually, I was talking to my major bank about the slowdown in 2007.
Mhm.
In the last quarter of 2007, I sat down with my banker and I said, I know we're not behind on any payments right now, but I see some trends happening and I don't know what's going to be happening. And they took that meeting uh, differently than I meant it. I meant it to give them a heads up that we needed to see if there's something that we could do to work out
Right.
uh, some of the stuff. I wanted them to say, well, how about if we do some interest only for a while or something. And they didn't like that meeting. At where I was trying to be proactive, they thought I don't know what they thought, but about 30 days later, I got a demand letter on my line of credit.
Mhm.
And then they turned all of my accounts over to special assets, which really confused me because I wasn't behind on payments yet. But that's what kind of forced us into the bankruptcy thing back in 2008.
Right.
So what I am saying is now I don't owe a bunch of conventional lenders money.
Mhm.
In fact, I don't owe any conventional lenders money
Mhm.
because I do use private money now, and my private lenders are people. They're just real people that I can talk to. So if
Right.
we did run into a downturn, um, I know I could work out the deal with them and we could make it through there. Not only that, but I do have private lenders that have enough faith in me to where they've got cash on the sidelines. They would rather lend to me during a downturn than to anybody else because I'm one of their favorite borrowers.
Absolutely. Yes. And so that leads us right into your book. So congrats, of course, on being a published author, best-selling author now of multiple books. I think your private lending book is right there on my
Yeah.
shelf. And so tell us, I know we had spoken about some specific examples, but do you have any stories to share about how you've given your book that educates, basically new people on private lending and what it's all about? Can you share any case studies or examples of how that book's been received?
Sure. Yeah. One of the things that I did this last year is because we did the books in 2020, because we had so much spare time because we didn't travel anywhere or do anything. We wrote those books in 2020. And at the end of the year, I thought I'm going to take my 25 best customers, my biggest customers in our property management company, and I'm going to send them all copies of both of my books. And so I did. I sent them all copies as kind of like Christmas presents. I said, hey, this is what I've been working on. If you know anybody that is in a situation where they need to sell their house because they're aging out, here's a book that you can share with them. Or if you know somebody that's got some money laying around that they need to put to work, you can look at the private lending book and that'll help you out there. And it was the funniest thing. One of our customers, he has about 8 units. He sent me a check for $1,000, and it was made out to me personally. And my bookkeeper brought me the check. It was sent to our office. She brought me the check. She said, "Do you know what this is about?" And I said, "No." I said, "Does he have any repairs or something that he needed to fund in his account?" And she said, "No, he's got money in his account." And so I'm like, okay. So I called him and I said, "Hey, I got this check here and I'm just curious, that you've got money in your account. You don't need to fund repairs. I don't know what this is for." And I said, "And you made it out to me personally," which doesn't make any sense either. And he said, "I just wanted to say thank you for the books." And he said, "And I got to read the books." And he said, "And I want to do more business with you." And so he said, "Do you have anything else that we can buy? I want to add to my portfolio." Well, I just so happened to have 4 other duplexes. He had 4 duplexes already. I had 4 others that were in the same neighborhood that I had bought several years ago with a partner. And my partner wanted to get out of the deal. Okay, so I was like, I've been trying to find somebody to buy these units and take us out of the deal because my partner wanted to be out of the deal. So I said, "Well, I've got these units here, and here's the details on them." And so we went over everything and he said, "I want to buy them." So actually we're closing on them April 30th.
Awesome.
And, yeah. And so, and then we talked about private lending because he doesn't have quite enough money for the down payment. And this was another deal that I structured with seller financing. So he's actually buying them subject to the original seller financing. We're going to continue to manage them. So we'll make the payments on the seller financing note because that note was on me originally.
Sure.
And so that'll continue on. And then he didn't have all the money because he's selling a house that he's moving out of. And so he had a considerable amount of the down payment, but he asked if I could finance the other part. So I got to do a little bit of financing, make some money on the money, and it was going to be a cool deal all the way around.
That is awesome.
And my partner that wanted to get out, I just talked to him this morning about the deal, and he's excited because he's ready to get his money back and put it somewhere else. So
very cool. So everybody won.
Everybody won, man.
So obviously, I mean, you gave somebody your book and the information in there was so impactful that they wrote you a personal check for $1,000. So, So what do you attribute that to? Like, what is it? Because this is a form of educating and helping people, but it's a form of marketing your business why aren't more people doing this? And just how powerful is it to lead with value first and try just to help the other person? And then it seems like the benefits that you receive are so much greater than just going into it as a transaction or a one-off or just a negotiation. So speak to that. Like how, yeah, how powerful is this?
So, Max, I think that the books are so powerful in a couple of different ways. When people see that you've written a book, they may not ever read that book,
Hmm.
but when they see that you've done it, they look at you differently.
Hmm.
You know, they look at you as an author, and I don't know, it's just a different perspective in their eyes
Hmm.
that you've accomplished something. A lot of people tell me, "Yeah, I've been wanting to write a book. How do you do that?" You know, and and so it opens up a whole nother conversation. It opens up a whole nother. Um, it gives you more credibility. And then, you know, we purposely did pictures on the front of the book that have my face on it.
Hmm.
And I've gone to people's houses, and here's the book sitting on their coffee table. And that is powerful because you're at top of mind. So when something happens, who are they going to call? You know, they're gonna see you on their coffee table, and they're gonna go, "Oh yeah, let's call that guy." Or let's, you know, we've got an extra $50,000 that just came in. What can we do with it? You know, oh, this guy, let's call him. So, so I think those two concepts right there have been so powerful. And even since we did those two books, I just finished my third book.
I saw that.
And did you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
congrats.
And so that one, um, I'm getting a lot of press on that too, because I sent that out to just my general audience in Facebook on that,
Hmm.
and so people have been buying that book, and it is about giving them value. There's information in there that helps them. All three of the books now, they all have information that helps people. I'm not really trying to sell and make money on being an author. In fact, any proceeds that I do make from a book, they go to a charity. I started a charity this year,
Oh,
my own 501c3, and that charity is to help single mothers.
oh, good.
Um, and so all the money from any sales, which I did have a lot of sales on this last one, um, all that money will go into just, you know, a charity to help other people, you
That's
know.
wonderful.
And so that's kind of it. That gives me it leads more to the legacy part of what I'm trying to accomplish as a human being. And so yeah, the book has been phenomenal. It's been a great thing to do. I leave two copies of each book on the table in our entrance area, so that if somebody wants one, they can go ahead and grab it and you know, read it and know that there's some good information in there. So
Awesome. Well, you've been one of the, leaders in our community. It's grown a lot in the last, since you came on. We've gotten a pretty wide group. If somebody's listening and they're a real estate investor and they've been thinking about becoming an author, but they don't want to just write a book on their own and they want to plug into something to just help, speed up the process so they can get out there and use it in the ways that you described. Would you recommend this Our Trusted Expert program to somebody else?
absolutely, Max. And I was going to say, not only is there value in helping someone get through the book, you know, their first book, because that's a challenge, man. To write a book
Mhm.
is quite a challenge. So not only are you helping them there, but the information that you provide on the calls that we get to participate in is phenomenal. And I want to just say that I appreciate you and the research that you do and the information that you give us, because and I have missed a few of the calls lately because I have another appointment that's on the same time. But man, every call, there's something new. There's good fresh material. There's a lot of information about marketing and how we can become better at it. And I've learned so much from you from those calls. It's helped me become a much better marketer, and that was one of my goals in the last year. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. Absolutely. It's been awesome. So, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, we're going to kind of wrap up now. What is the best way that they can do that? If they're interested in, private lending, if they're interested in learning more about property management, if they're just interested in maybe selling their house, or they just want to connect, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
So I got a real easy email address. It's tim@timsdavis.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's published in all the books too, because I wanted to make it easy for people just to remember my, the name that I use for writing books is Tim S. Davis. So if you just remember tim@timsdavis.com, you can send me an email and we'll get that and we can start communicating.
Well, awesome. Well, it was great getting to spend a few minutes to hear about all the amazing things that you're up to, and we can't wait to have you come back on for an update. That sound good?
All right. Sounds good, Max. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks everybody. And if you enjoyed this episode, just give it a thumbs up. Check out some of our other videos, and we're looking forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye. Take care.